one example they're pointing to, the Chinese, are these solar panels. The US, for example, increasing tariffs from 18% to 250%. Protectionism, they say. And on the face of it, it does look like it.
I don't think it's protectionism, because there has also been lodged a complaint with the European Commission recently by the solar panel industry in Europe, which is much more important, by the way, than the US. You're talking about 21 billion euro of sales in 2011, so it's about the biggest case we ever got, you know. And once such a complaint is lodged, we are bound to investigate this. So we started the investigation, and we will see within a period of 9 months whether or not we have to impose duties.
And what about the telecoms giant, Huawei Technologies? An example of protectionist measure has been imposed on Chinese company in the name of national security, they're saying. So that's another example of how the West is discriminating against their products.
I think you have to distinguish between the security aspect and the possible problem of dumping or subsidiation. The security problem, it's under investigation also in Great Britain at this moment in time. Parliament decided to do so. The same happened in the United States. They have been taken out of the market in Australia, Huawei, one of the two Chinese companies. So there are serious questions about the security problem. On the other hand, you have the, let's say, the dumping and the subsidiation. There we are still considering whether or not to start a case, because that would be a case ex officio, which means that there is no complaint, but nevertheless we could, we haven't yet done so, but we could take the decision to start such a case because of the very strategic importance of this industry for Europe. I mean, you can hardly imagine this modern economy thriving in Europe without mobile networks. They are really crucial for all the kind of networks, and you shouldn't only think about television. You should, for example, also think about water distribution or whatever, you know.
Are Europe and the US grouping together on these issues more? Because we've also got this parallel story that the US and Europe are set to launch trade talks early next year to deepen the trading ties between the two continents.
Of course, we have a lot of discussions with the United States, but for example, the solar case, these are complaints that have been lodged with the American administration and with the European Commission, quite separately, one from another. Something completely different, which is much more forward-looking, is the high-level working group on growth and jobs, which should lead to negotiations on the trade agreement, a deep and a comprehensive one between the United States and Europe, who have already by far the biggest trade relation in the world. And yes, we are very hopeful that we can start those negotiations beginning of next year. We are progressing very well with the report that Ron Kirk and myself are preparing.
And just on the EU summit, you would have been watching developments unfold with interest, I'm sure. This movement on banking union, is it as dramatic as it looks?
I think it is dramatic because in the banking union you have the supervisory system, you would have the resolution, which means who is paying when something gets wrong, and then you have the mutualization of the credit protection for ordinary people that have money with the bank. So this is the first pillar, excuse me, that in any case will cover the whole of the monetary union, but probably much more. And in any case, it would also cover the activities of banks outside the monetary union or outside the system, like, for example, British banks or United States banks, as far as they have activities in the European monetary zone through a subsidiary.
Well, is it your understanding that banks already in trouble will be able to claim from this facility?
I believe it will make quite a difference, because when you look a little bit back to what happened with the banking sector in 2008, 2009, it's obvious that one of the main reasons that we got this crisis was a lack of supervision in the number of member states, and also the lack of communication between the member states. That's certainly one of the big let's say, sources of all the turmoil that we have been going through. So this is quite important that we do it, and we have to do it urgently, because it's the only way to split, let's say, the problems with bank debts from sovereign debt. I mean, there should be no, we should have a Chinese wall in between, and the only way to do so is by the supervisory system and a proper banking union.
So some progress. Karel de Gucht, thank you very much indeed for joining us on the programme.